What is up, you guys? Welcome to another Tuesday with Spencer here on FTM Transtastic. This week we are discussing detransitioning. Um, I don't really know what to say on this topic. I've been kind of dreading it, making this video, but I'm just going to talk a little bit about my feelings on it, I guess. First, let me identify or let me define detransitioning that I'm going to be using in this video. Um, Detransitioning to me means transitioning back to your assigned gender. I do want to point out what Trenton said earlier, that this whole idea that people detransition because they realize they made this horrible mistake and they are now scarred for life or something is not really something that you hear of. At least I haven't heard of in my personal experiences, both in the internet or in real life. Um, for somebody who has detransitioned, honestly, I kind of look at them as making the correct choice for their life. I don't really care one way or another why, like the reason behind somebody detransitions is not really my place to judge. It doesn't affect me whether you detransition or not transition at all for that matter. So if it doesn't affect me, it's not really my place to weigh in on your personal decisions. So that's kind of how I view everything. This is really not a topic because it's a personal decision that you've made with yourself. So why am I trying to throw shame or make judgment on what you deem is right for you? I think it's important to point out that there are certain things that don't go back if you are to detransition. One of them being voice. If you have a beard pattern, that doesn't change, as well as lower growth. I think that everyone, before taking testosterone, really should look into how it affects your body and what's irreversible, because this is a huge medical step. And if you are to detransition, that's not a problem, and I know a person who has detransitioned and is now passing female. So it's not like it's going to change your ability to pass as your original gender, at least in this person's case. I can only speak on the one person that I know. But it does have irreversible effects. So please be aware of this when you're taking in the idea of even starting transitioning and starting testosterone. Be aware of everything that it does to your body and how it will affect you and what will happen if you choose to stop. I've also had a couple of friends who are identified as trans male or male, and then um, whether they stop T or not, they change to non-binary. And again, I don't see that as detransitioning, just a greater understanding of your gender and yourself. So when it comes to the rhetoric of stopping testosterone because you do not believe that you are trans, I have yet to see that. So I don't want to say it doesn't exist because I'm sure it does, but I just don't know people who do that. And if you know people who do that, again, point them in my direction because I would love to have a conversation with you. One of the arguments that I see on Tumblr within the trans community of people who detransition is the argument that when people detransition publicly, um, it creates this idea that you aren't born trans, but it's a choice, which creates this idea that um, medically it's not something that needs to be covered, such as hormones and surgeries. And it's stated that people who detransition weaken the cause or the idea that being trans isn't a choice and medically we need these things to feel comfortable and safe, etc. So I kind of get what they're trying to say, but I don't really understand it much. For one, I identified as a lesbian for a number of years, and that has changed dramatically. With that being said, me changing my identity did not hinder lesbian and gay rights activists. It did not hinder getting lesbian gay marriage legal. It did not hinder lesbian and gay rights being under the Equal Rights and Opportunities Act. So just because somebody detransitions, you shouldn't think that it would hinder the movement of trans people being visible, being the idea that being trans is something that you're born as, or the idea or need for trans surgeries and hormones to be a necessity and a requirement for health care. So I don't really get that like stance on it, but I do see a lot of people saying that detransitioners or transgenders somehow hinder the movement of trans visibility and trans healthcare. I don't really understand it. I don't really believe that, but that is out there, and I would love to combat that with just simply my story of being a lesbian, how it didn't hinder lesbian efforts, as well as just people make mistakes. You know, like if you honestly made a mistake, you made a mistake, and that's perfectly fine. I have made countless mistakes of things that I thought were absolutely necessary and right in my life that turned out completely wrong. And that's fine. It's part of the human experience. And I kind of think that whether you decide that transitioning wasn't for you and you detransition or not, it's part of your human experience, and it's just a road that you're going to walk down and ultimately find this thing called happiness that we're all just actively, aggressively searching for. Again, I apologize for posting late. I've been busy doing Passover things with the family and with shul. For you, those who don't know, Passover started April 22nd and it ends in 8 days. It is a Jewish holiday celebrating the transition from slavery to freedom from Egypt. Um, and yeah, so Shag Pesach Samek to all my Jewish followers out there. Tell me, if you're Jewish, what your last supper was and how you plan on breaking your fast. My last supper was lasagna, and I plan on breaking my fast with pizza because that's one of my favorite things to eat. That or a cheeseburger, one or the other, I don't know. Yep, thanks for watching my video. I hope you're having a great week and are gearing up for an even better weekend. It is Tuesday. It is Spencer. Until next time.